Everyone that so chooses, will you please stand and put your sign off your pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll call the meeting to order with everyone present. The first thing on the agenda, Chad Wilkins and Kevin Hanson from Iowa Rotocast, land use in Freeport. Come on up.
Morning.
Good morning.
Ready? A little handout here, I'll pass out. We are inquiring about some county property that joins our property. We are looking to do a solar array. And we just don't have the land where we currently are. So with that, we want to see if the county has any interest in possibly selling a portion or all of the adjoining property. That goes along with that.
Yeah, part of it is we're doing a solar, we have a building at Old Stage near the water treatment plant, so we're doing a solar array there. But at our Bowler's property, there's just not enough extra space to do it, and that's where the consumption of our electricity is that building, so. If we don't have the property, our roof structure is not solid enough to put it on the roof, so we really need the land space to be able to do it. That's really.
To apply for REAP grant with this solar project, and part of that is you have to own the property.
The leasing wouldn't work.
Leasing wouldn't work for us to get the grant.
Well, agreement that the project is just a lot less attractive, so.
Is this currently our seed plot?
I don't know what this is currently. I think maybe it is, but. Which buildings are these? I mean, I need to zoom out just a little bit.
So this is our property here, and then this whole is
Nine is about 9.5 acres in there or something.
Yeah, it's right around 10.
Yeah.
And this would be like where the red is would kind of be the minimum we need to put that solar array up.
So is this if you follow this one and this one, they come up to Stage Road, is that?
Yes, correct.
Okay,
And
so
that's
this is
Wellington.
I think I know where this is. No, it's not Wellington.
It's on the east end of Freeport,
Yeah.
Yeah,
like 9.5 or some acres, I think is what that's yes.
This is the, like, the auto
That's Headington.
Headington. This is the storage sheds.
yep.
Headington Auto Storage Sheds, Recycling Center.
Oh, okay.
That Lynch is in the front there.
Yeah.
It was planted a seed plot for,
Both sides.
roadside management. This is the one that here wanted you to. It was pushing, and instead he planted seed plot in there because he thought that would help hold the water there rather than. I don't know, any of you were in here when we had that here, that was before that.
I guess I'd like to know more from Secondary Roads Department, how that's being used and future plans for that.
And when Chad called, right, you were the one who
Yep.
called, yeah. Basically, I've said that it's so there's a process, and before we even consider the process to find out if you guys are even interested, and know what's going on before we get much further. So they aren't asking, I'm not asking today for you to make a decision, but to let you know what they're gonna
Right.
want, so you can research with Andy the process and with the roads, what if it's currently being used and how much and that kind of thing.
Yeah, we just need to know if it's an option or not.
Mhm.
If it's not, then we can move on.
I think the answer right now is I don't know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Happy to answer.
Yeah.
Questions that you guys have.
Just look into it and gladly
Okay.
Sure.
give you an answer.
Yeah, that's all we're asking.
Yeah,
It's a working project.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's just what would be given up. To easy plots and.
So the bare minimum, what you would be looking at is just a little over 4.5 acres.
Yes, yep,
It'd be roughly half the area there.
Exactly.
Pretty close.
yep, pretty close to half.
Yeah, but if the county was like an all or nothing, you'd be interested in buying.
Correct.
Just,
the whole.
just if we're gonna get rid of some, we might wanna get rid of all.
yeah, we would consider all of them.
So,
Yeah.
You know, we're working with Joel Tesla with Core Electric as well on the project, so he's kind of the one that's giving us the information on roughly what space we would need for the array that would go on that location.
I would say if we did, it would be a one. One big chunk deal instead.
Mhm.
That would be my destination to do.
How much of your power requirement will help you with? If you go to that much solar?
It should cover, I think, 100% of our
Pretty
current.
close to that, yeah.
Mhm.
Would we look at shared power with recycling? Could they use that solar?
I don't know. The grants get really specific on how you can use them, like, you know, having to own land. So I don't know that you could share it, because, you know, we have a building, an old stage where we have spot to put the solar array there for that building. But to do this other building, we have to run a power line in between the two buildings, and that's not a clear cut thing either. You know, Alliance is, we're still waiting to hear back from them if that's an option.
There's been some pushback with Alliant doing that, so. And there's a kind of a big, huge cost associated with doing that too.
Yeah, we'd have to change, yeah, there's a lot to do to that. It can be done if Alliant approves it, but there is a lot. You know, which is, it changes the return on the investment, and it also makes the chance of the REAP grant getting approved a little less because the ROI is greater or takes longer. So, and that's part of the scoring with the REAP grant is the scoring. So obviously if it's right next door, you can just run it to the building, you don't have extra cost to go with that. It just looks more favorable on the grant itself, so. But the goal would be that we're pushing closer to 100% of replacing that electricity with solar, so.
Well, I would say that we'll take a little time, we'll look into this and kind of go from there and let you know probably as soon as we can, so you can, got to change your plans, you can change your plans.
Sure. Okay.
All right.
Great, if you guys have any questions, meanwhile, feel free to reach out to us and.
Yeah. If you want to visit or anything like
Yeah.
that.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right, good, thank you.
Okay. Appreciate you guys' time.
No problem.
No problem.
Thanks.
There's a hand up. No, it's up to you.
What's that?
Oh. No, over here. Oh, Jerry, no.
Oh, I thought you might be interested in how they maintain their solar, facility. Some of them use native planting with their solar.
There's lots of questions. This is all new. So there's a lot of questions on it.
You might consider that.
Consent agenda.
Okay, I've got the claims, the minutes, and 2 liquor licenses here, it looks like. We'll make sure that everything is. Okay, the liquor licenses are Peppercorn Food Company, 909 Pleasant Avenue. Oh, that's the where the person lives, but it's Peppercorn Food Company. I'm not familiar with this one. And ADR Inc., which operates K-Town Tap.
I'd move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously.
And is there signature one going around for the?
Yeah.
We can get claims. Mark, send your claims.
That's 166,000 for the tax. Yes, the one, the one we got here, well, that.
Okay, committee reports. So I guess I would just give you guys an update on that 911 tower project in auction. They finished all the concrete work this week, so that's all sitting there ready for that to appear before they can start putting the buildings.
Yeah, they started up on Westerboro there. We'll get a weekly update every week now on how they're going. Still, everything looks right on time with the weather. Yeah. They just keep going. Smith's curing faster than they thought, so but it's been warm and
Good.
dry, so everything's going as scheduled. That dirt we had to haul out and bring gravel back with the added expense on, so they're just gonna fill that as it, it'll come through as it happens.
And finalized Winneshiek County floodplain maps have been finalized. And we're gonna have to, we'll bring Sean in and we'll go over this, but we're gonna have to develop a floodplain system. And Tony Phillips is, we're gonna be the one that's in charge of that. But then for any building permits or anything within a floodplain, whether it's agricultural or what, they would have to get a permit. Even county road work, we have to get a permit to work on our own roads within a floodplain. So this will all be coming down through the system too, just to give you all a heads up.
The Upper Explorer Land Board, that was just pretty much budget. Being that pretty short meeting this time, so it was nothing. We took a couple of old buildings down that were just to the south side of the property, got them done.
ISAC conference was a good mix. I gave you the one handout from the HR session. It was done by the flood consulting firm. They did an excellent job, and there was so many questions asked by the audience that they had to try to rush through the presentation part because there were so many different entities asking questions because of all the issues been.
We put it together.
We got there and listened to it, and it was there was a lot of hot topics.
Yeah,
I bet.
they only had it scheduled for an hour and I think they could have had 3 or 4 hours.
And they're
Had the time to do it.
recognize that, and we'll put more on the next time,
Yeah.
the next agenda, depending on that, because of it. I talked to the 2 exhibiting consulting firms that were there about their services. And so forth. Looks pretty promising there. They have some good depth.
And I also have a revolving loans fund meeting and we did approve the applicant's application for the $150,000 loan. So we pretty much used up all the funding in there now until the other notes come, bring it back in place so we can give out some again.
Any applications in?
We have we have 3 applications, 2 that were on Indeed that were not complete. I've emailed both the people and I've gotten no response. So the one also answered that currently lives in Australia, I think it was, although another place said Spain, guess I'm not sure, but they also checked the box that they weren't willing to travel, so. So I actually rejected that one on Indeed, and then the other one that was on Indeed, the person is from Sri Lanka, but currently living in Washington DC, has not responded when I asked. We have to collect the county's generic application information because it has the veterans preference page on it that is required for us to collect by state law, and they have not gotten back to me now, going on 2 weeks. So that one probably, since we do have one applicant through the standard process, through that probably found an email or on in the newspaper article or one of our other standard processes, and so that one I'll forward as applicant number 2 when we get to the deadline.
And the deadline is Wednesday,
It's Wednesday, yeah, or Thursday.
Thursday.
the 31st.
31st.
Yeah.
It's 9:45. The next item on the agenda, Brenda Kreitzer, the county treasurer, to discuss CDL skills testing. Good morning, Brenda.
Morning, everybody.
You gonna demonstrate?
We're gonna get run over. So we're having a little problem here as far as doing the CDL pre-trip skills and road. Has nothing to do with written tests, you know, anybody can still come up and do a CDL written test. Except hazmat, they have to do the ELDT first. So what's going on is February of 2022, it started that to be eligible to take required skills, CDL applicants must have completed applicable entry level driver training from a registered training provider, and I'll call that ELDT. And as long as they took the written test with us by February 7th, 22, they had a year to take the skills test. And so in that year, especially the last, you know, or I should say January, February of 23 up to February 7th, it was crazy with CDLs for everybody to come and get that taken care of. But now they can't come in to us until they take that ELDT. Mason City has a couple places. Actually, there's quite a few places around us that are ELDT providers. You can already see all the red on there. But what's happening though is because they can go to Mason City or some of these other places to do the ELDT training, many of them are also saying, well, hey, you can stay here, do the pre-trip skills and road, and we have a truck, which people love, you know. Now, some of these places, they don't go to as much because of cost. Some of the community colleges are very expensive, take a lot longer, but places like Mason City, it's usually, you know, a 2-day thing that they can get this all done in. So because of that, since February 7th, we have done 2 CDLs. And it's not going to get any better because a House file bill came out 257, which it used to designate that community colleges and other Iowa-based motor carrier that operates a permanent commercial driving training facility were the only ones that could do the pre-trip skills and road. But with the HF 257, they have dropped that. And as long as used by a third-party tester to comply with existing federal regulations applicable to third-party knowledge and driving skills tests as adopted by rules of the DOT, which means right now in Iowa, we have 518 providers that can do the ELDT, which is just the training, not the pre-trip skills and road. The ones here are the ones that are already registered to do the pre-trip skills and road through the DOT. With this HS 257, they won't have to go through the DOT like that anymore. So those 518 providers, we're probably gonna have this map so covered up, you're not gonna be able to see Iowa because they will start doing them also. And we're already down to just 2 this year. The problem is you have to and we have 2 testers. Each tester is supposed to have done 10 a year. And if they don't do 10 a year, then they can no longer give pre-trip skills and road tests. We can't even get close to that for one. Even our, and there's, and the DOT did, call us last week. Actually, we had a Zoom meeting with them. So me and Stacy and Nate, we all talked to them, to the DOT. There's only 8 counties now that do CDLs anymore. And so they're calling all 8 counties to talk to us about this. State stations are even having trouble. Mason City, because there's already 2 of these providers in Mason City, even the state station is having trouble complying with the 10. And so when you get state stations that are having that kind of trouble, we will not be able to qualify for this anymore.
Are they private providers?
Yes.
And are they?
They will be. Like
Under
right
the
now.
same qualification?
Mhm.
They have to do the same things these
They
other.
have, yes, it does have to be the DOT. Actually, it's the federal rules because CDLs are federal, so they have to go by the federal standards. Either community colleges or these, commercial driver training facilities that were set up for it. But eventually, it's going to be.
Is it more expensive for people to get their CDL
Actually,
license?
the one place in Mason City is not bad at all. Don't quote me, it's between $200 and $400. But there again, they're okay with paying that because a lot of times it's hard for people to get a truck or they have to rent a truck or something like that with us. Whereas, for this now, some of the community colleges, they're between $2,000 and $4,000. And so the community colleges at this point haven't been getting a lot because of their higher amounts. You get into these pre-trip or these private ones and it's gonna be a lot less.
I think part of Shirley's question was if they took the training without doing the test, it doesn't cost them any additional when you used to do the test. You don't charge them to do the test, but they have to find a truck and they have to, do all that stuff, but you don't charge. Will charge $200 to $400, but it comes with a truck and.
And people don't even question it because they could definitely come to us, so since February 7th, they are more than happy to pay that up in Mason City and have it done than come to us.
Yeah, it's basically a one-stop shop.
Right,
You go in,
exactly.
everything's there, the truck's
2
there.
days they're done and gone.
Yep, exactly.
They're.
And so now the even bigger problem that's coming up is, beginning October, November, DOT hasn't given us a final word yet. But all the pre-trip skills and roles, pre-trip skills and road rules are changing. And also the dimensions of the testing area is changing. And so, now, Stacy and Nate, they have been doing this for years where it's ingrained in them on how to do this. Even just doing 2 now, after a while, you kind of forget some things, but with all this changing and us only doing 2 a year, they have to go to they're designated to go to a 2-day training now here in a couple weeks.
So I think what you're basically letting the board know, I may summarize.
Yes, you may.
That we are probably not gonna be doing this anymore at the county level, save getting them trained, because even if they get trained a year from now, they won't have enough under their belt that they would lose their certification anyway. But back when we started doing this many years ago, 20 years ago or whatever, I mean, that was part of the sale of the program to the boards of supervisors, is that we would provide more opportunities, and it was a benefit for our residents to be doing it here, because the DOT people that came around were only here once a week, whereas in our office, we were doing it 5 days a week. But so just so the board knows that we are taking away that opportunity because of their new guidelines.
And it's not like it's, the county gets $7 for each pre-trip skills and what we do. That's what we get. We get $7. Sometimes they would come out, do the pre-trip skills and road, and then go to their county and get it issued. we don't get paid just because we're out there doing it. We get paid when we issue it. So it's not like
It was always a money losing situation. There was no way you could justify in the dollars that were spent for the time of the employee and going out there and doing it, but it was a customer service thing for the residents of the county. That was the way it was presented back when we started. Well, now at this point, obviously it isn't being utilized. So why do we want to continue to even send them to the training with?
Yeah,
we have no problems, going until the new start date. And like I said, DOT hasn't given us a new start date on the October, November new rules, so we'll still have it open to them. But I just, Fayette County, he emailed me and he said he's already gone to his board and they put it in the paper that they may be doing this. And he said they didn't get any response except for one person worried about possibly not doing the written test. Hazmat, they do have to do the ELDT before they can even take the written test on that.
So you'll continue the written test.
Absolutely. That's not.
If this, has created more opportunities for more drivers, I think that's a win for short of truck drivers.
Well, and I don't know if it created more opportunities because we were always here to do the written and the skills and right, it's actually probably prevented some because of the fact that it does cost them more, but they all have to do the ELDT no matter what. And,
Now,
If you're a private person who maybe owns your own truck and you use it mostly for your own use, and so before any of this, you could just come in and take the written test and set up the appointment and do the driving test, and you didn't really pay anything. Now you have to
paid
pay,
when you got issued.
you paid the $36 or whatever for the driving test
But you've only done 2 this year.
this year, but now they've added this training requirements, so now even if you were that person, now you still have to go to a class, so that's really taken out the convenience of doing it here, because you gotta go to a class where they'll do it all for you, so why not just get it done?
Calmer does not offer.
Actually, Kilmer does offer it, but now, and there again, don't quote me, but they were doing like a 4-week course. Plus at one point it was 4,000. Now, we don't know, I don't know exactly what that is now, but that was very hard for people to do, to take that long of a course, to take off work. And then, so and like I said, by now they may have come down on that, but
no, like the one in Mason City, that's just like a 1-day or 2-day
yes.
class,
Yeah.
and then they
You do your.
get everything
one day
finished right away.
Right, and it's, yeah.
Des Moines area, you can do the drive. If you got your written, you go down there and they got the driving one. They have the dark.
So for somebody that wants to be a school bus driver, they.
They still have to go to the ELDT, and they still have to do the pre-trip skills of road because they have the passenger endorsement and the school bus endorsement that, even if they have a CDL already,
Still,
they, well, they have to add those, so yes, they have to.
So they'd have to go through the whole. First license.
The school bus part of it. So I just wanted you to be aware of that at this point, unless you have any other thoughts, I can't see how we will be able to because
No.
of the fact that we have to do 10 a year each tester.
You might as well save that training then and try
Yeah.
and learn the new system,
Right,
rather than saying, oh, if we do this training, we could do it for a couple more months, well, then you're getting off anyways, like, save that hassle.
right. And then that's cost the county money too, to go to training. It's a 2-day training, they have hotel expenses, and such like that too, and so,
Buses.
yeah. So, but, I mean, it wasn't like we didn't try.
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's.
So you're gonna basically just notify that they need to be referring to elsewhere We're really pretty much at a loss of being able to do anything.
And actually, everybody basically knows that nobody even really calls and
You'll have it in the media here now, just so people know that that's what's going on, but most of them already did.
but yeah, there's really nobody that calls.
Their hands are tied. I mean, it's just something.
Yeah,
the county's
they
just
all know
gonna
if
have
they're
to
gonna get
accept.
CDL, they already have to do the ELDT and that, so I'm amazed at, the information that has gone around, so nobody really calls us even to inquire on that part, they know they have to get that, so.
Right. Well, thanks for keeping us informed.
You bet.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
Thanks. It's 10 o'clock. Next, item on the agenda, Andy Vander, the county attorney. RFQ for engineer search firms and legal claims. Morning,
Hey,
Andy.
good morning. So I thought I would keep this, stay here and have that RFQ up on my screen in case we have some changes. So I sent it out. There were some modifications last week. Deadlines haven't been filled in. Not sure if you've got some other suggestions on it, but I have it available here if you want to go over it or have questions about it.
Other than the deadlines, I didn't see any other edits to be made. I just need to get those filled in today and get it back out.
Yes, my question would be, do you want to look and see what this, I know you have the one. It's a whole application. If there's any more between now and Thursday, we want to send this out Friday if we don't have X number of applicants, or do you want to wait and review those over the weekend and decide next week if you're going to do interviews or going to send this out, or what? How do you want to do that?
I think we need to set it out, start the process. We can always.
You can always say, well, we found someone, so you can.
Yeah.
Would agree with that.
Then we maybe do send it out, and we'll get a few more, and we'll have to work, yeah.
Okay with that.
How long do you want to give? Because this is just the return the RFQ. How long do you want to give potential firms to return this? Because, if that's 3 or 4 weeks, then they'll start their process, which is going to take a couple more months, which then, it's going to be a while.
Say September 30, end of September for a deadline for returning it. And then under Article 6, costs and payments, we also need to fill those in. What do you guys think about end of September? Because by the time we get this out and they do the work to get it back, it's not like a week turnaround deal. This is a bigger issue.
You think we can push it to 3 weeks, Andy?
So you're looking at having it back by the 22nd or the 29th? What are you thinking?
Let's say the 22nd would be.
The Friday?
You would want them turned in on a Friday so that following Monday, you could look at them. If you haven't turned it on Monday, then it's too late for that day's meeting, so.
I'd say the 22nd.
If we have it in by Thursday, we could then, it could be on the agenda if that was of importance.
Yeah, if we know they're coming in on Friday, I'll just put it on the agenda for the following Monday. Whether we have any actually turned in or not at that point.
I'm cutting it really small for the firm to get this put together and get it submitted.
I think the 22nd is seems to me that that's realistic. I mean, you're going to know. That's 3 weeks. I mean,
3 weeks, yes.
and I mean, these are firms that respond to these things all the time. So I mean, I would like to think that the 22nd is not too short a window, but it's up to you.
I like the 22nd.
Yeah.
I like the 22nd.
Put them on so we can.
And then the other question is, how are we gonna identify the firms we send these to? Do we want to, I mean, I have a list of the ones that did the salary study information that we ended up hiring Condrey that were. Those are.
I think we need to ask the DOT for some guidance on this, because I bet they have a list that they've worked with before to find specifically professional engineers.
Yes, I think that, yeah.
Both sources and let's get it going. Otherwise, by the time they respond, initiate and so forth, we're pushing late here again.
And your biggest, I mean, you have Nick on now to do the day-to-day stuff, finish up the programs that you got going now and issuing permits and all that stuff, helping run the department, but you can't send that. W-14 is your biggest project next year that can't be sent to the DOT until you have something in place.
That's right.
And I think realistically for us and the community, we need to be ready to look at the possibility of not having anybody hired and ready to start till after the new year. It could be that long.
Let's see what happens. We got time. But let's get it moving. Let's don't keep waiting.
So who will check DOT on firms?
I can send information to the person, I can't remember. her
Nikki
name,
Flynn.
Nikki, that I used to get the information there for our opening and ask if they have a list of search firms. I mean, they may not, I mean, I don't know, or they may not even be, might be something that they don't really get in the middle of.
I know that there was a county, I can't remember which one specifically, that used a search firm similar to the situation we're in. And that person didn't last, so it could be a long haul here to find the right. It's like searching for a unicorn at this point.
So one other thing, I'm going to resend Ben Appendix A. I had intended to take off those last few pages about insurance. I incorporated those into the agreement itself. So I'll remove those. I'll get that sent as an update, but pages 6 through 10 will just, we won't include with the appendix because that's already addressed in Article 8.
So in Article 6, the county will be billed by invoice for professional time and services provided by the consultant in amount not to exceed blank, to be remitted as.
Right,
We won't know what blank is until we get the bids. It's
the first part is the request for qualifications, then this is just for, as a contract with that company, so if we choose one, then we would fill that dollar amount in before we all signed them.
Okay, so the 22nd is the date?
Yeah.
So you'll resend it to me, the RFQ to me with the updated dates and the updated appendix, and I can start sending it out.
we'll do that.
Do we need a motion? No.
Do you think we need a motion to authorize that, or just go with it at that point?
I think I would do a issue the RFQ.
I would move to send the request for proposals out immediately.
A second.
We have a motion and a second, and that would include, so. Is there any further discussion? Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Do you have any questions for Andy on anything else?
Well, this might be a good time just to ask what the board wants to do with that meeting that's coming, that they're ready to come September 11th. And so we need to decide. The whole board is going to meet with that group and in a close information, or if you would like them to give it wouldn't be a closed session, but then have a security committee meeting that then isn't an open meeting, or if you, how you want to do that. If you do it as a closed session meeting, do you want to invite a closed session meeting and the closed session and how that works?
We would probably have a joint meeting. I think both organizations would vote to go into closed session, so it's possible, I guess, it's possible.
I would definitely like to hear it as a supervisor, the whole report. So we need a motion.
I just need to know how to list it on the agenda. So if there's,
Say closed session joint.
Closed session joint.
Mhm.
Yeah, I talked,
okay,
yeah, I talked with the one provider that was here that works for ISAC. You know, we are not the worst kid on the block, but we are in need of some changes.
Yes.
And an eye opener.
Yeah.
yeah, and this is just gonna be more details based on what they did on that on-site visit. So this is they're gonna present details that were maybe covered in a higher level overview after their on-site visit, but they're gonna give you some more details now.
So Ben, are you looking at scheduling this like last on the agenda, do it 11 o'clock or something, or what's?
I'm figuring we'll see if there isn't much else on the agenda, then probably 11, but if the agenda gets a lot of other items, then we might have to push it back a little later, and then you could cover all of your open meeting items and then go into closed session. Then after that meeting, the only additional business adjournment. Yeah. That would be my hope, is that you wouldn't go back into open session to do several other items, because then people who want to attend have to wait for it's September 11th is when they're planning to come, and I just need to know.
That's a bad omen.
It is kind of a bad omen to have a security meeting on that.
Yeah.
Or a good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's look at it on the positive.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, well, I know how to list it then, and we'll get it scheduled. I'll have Tony is the representative from the auditor's office. It's on the security committee, and so he's the chairperson of that committee. So I'll have him work with that committee to make sure they know they can come to that meeting.
Sounds good. Does anyone have anything else for Andy?
No.
Andy, we received that one letter from the public over right-of-way issues. How should a response to that happen? That seemed like a rather onerous request for information with a lot of detail that I asked Mike Shimmick about it. He said that would probably take him over a year's worth of work to completely answer what was requested. And we've got the issue of right-of-ways, prescriptive right-of-ways, and a few deeded right-of-ways. Do you have any advice on that?
If it's all right with you folks, my thought would be I'd be happy to respond to Brigida and offer to meet with her and talk through these things. It may not be as detailed as some of her specific questions are for, number of roads and all that. But I think I can lay out historically how we've handled vacation of public roads. And frankly, in the 29 years I've been doing this, I can't recall an instance where a road was vacated and we came back and said, oh my, I wish we wouldn't have done that. We need to use that. I think the engineer's office is always pretty thorough in terms of their research on access and road needs and that type of thing. I'd be happy to to offer to sit down with her, at least try to find out what the, if there's information I can't give her, what she's really looking for. If that's all right with you folks, I'd suggest that.
I think that would be good. Most of it had a certain legal bent to it anyway, so.
Yeah, I think that's advised. Thank you, Andy.
I think that
Anything
concern,
else?
I think that concern might have come out of was it last week's meeting? When you mentioned the 1850 something map, is it 50, like, I don't remember what year.
1856.
1856 map, and the possibility of doing one abandon and one vote. And I think the community's concern might be that what if those are future right-of-ways that could be used for trail development in our, next 50 to 100 years, or access for trout streams, or the only access available for somebody to get to their land. There's just lots of questions around it, and I think that came out of concern about that.
Sure. Yeah, those are, until those get identified on that map, I don't know that any of us can answer that or fan those flames of concern. It's, like Mike said, most of those roads are probably, 20-foot easements is what we have, because they're, 1857 or whatever it was, 1856. You didn't have a lot of vehicle traffic at that point that was requiring a large right of way.
And a lot of those that Mike has identified are on that map have not, there's been no improvement by us, no rock applied or anything of that nature. They're just simply, they're simply just sitting there as land the farmers have been farming and people have been using that are the landowners that the original person back 100+ years ago was granting the county for use for horse and buggy.
Well, and that's what we talked about last week. I mean, given the state of a number of those, they are probably abandoned anyway. And if you wanted to open them, you may not be able to, just because that right of way has already been abandoned. So the vacation process is more one of clearing title and getting abstracts current and accurate than anything else on a number of these. So I understand the concern, but I think the concern can be explained. And if there is something that, county conservation or somebody else sees as a DNR, sees as an access need, if it's not being used already, that would be an issue that they could identify once we know what's actually on the map to take a look at for vacation purposes. All right, anything else?
I don't think so.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andy.
All right, thanks.
Next on the agenda. I think we're missing something.
And Nick was gonna maybe attend via Teams, so he'll probably hop up.
There he is.
And Jeff is walking up right.
Well, there we go. How quickly we solved that. Good morning, Nick. Morning, Jeff. Let's see. First up, it looks like we have to set a public hearing for Horn Hollow Road vacation.
Okay, good. And we did have a request by the Shemps not to do it on between the 8th and the 18th. Because they'll be out of town. So we're probably looking at this point, because we need 3 weeks to get all the notices out and published. We're probably looking at the 25th.
Need a motion?
I move to approve the 25th for the road vacation public hearing, Horn Hollow.
And I'll get a time once I can look at the agenda book to get it. So I'll fill that in, and we'll be notifying the adjoining property owners as well as putting a public notice in the newspaper.
All right, we have a motion and a second to set the public hearing for the Horn Hollow Road vacation for September 25th
at a time to be determined. Is there any further discussion? If none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Resolution.
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
Steve.
Aye.
And I also. Motion passes unanimously.
Can you back up and tell me who made the motion and second?
Mark and Steve.
Okay,
And Steve.
thank you.
Next, interfund loan.
You want me to cover this one, Nick?
Yeah, if you can, you probably
Yeah.
are more well aware of it than what I'm.
Yeah, so the road department is short on cash on hand, so we can do an interfund loan.
Oh, wait, second.
Sign that paper, so.
Fine, what?
She got some papers. She
The road retracement
Oh,
paperwork.
got it.
We have to have that finalized before we can set the
Got
public
it.
hearing, and so
She has to.
she has to go and sign it.
Take care of.
Good catch.
So the road department doesn't have enough cash on hand right now for all of the work that we've done. Basically, it was all of the graveling that we done through the summer. It was over $1 million worth of graveling, but it's not all in the road fund at this moment. So we're gonna, proposing to do it a loan from the general fund to the road fund. Interfund loans are authorized. It's basically shifting money internally, but they have to be repaid by the end of June. So you can't carry an interfund loan over the end of a fiscal year. So you're really just providing cash flow at this point. And so we took the resolution from the last time. They're requesting $600,000 from the general fund to the secondary road fund. The last time we did this, we didn't charge interest to the road fund from the general fund. That is an option, but then you're really just charging interest internally. You're gonna spend the money it's already gonna get spent anyway, so. So I guess I would recommend just I took that clause out. Resolution, so, that would be a resolution to authorize the interfund loan transfer.
I move to approve the interfund loan transfer.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the interfund loan transfer. It is a resolution. Shirley,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
and I also. That motion passes unanimously. And next, DOT engineer resolution.
So, this one is one that Nikki from the DOT sent me when I sent her a copy of the agreement you had with Nick for, being the interim engineer. And it's, their standard resolution that basically authorizes Nick to sign on behalf of Winneshiek County for certificates of completion and acceptance for current projects.
You need a motion to.
Yes, this would be a resolution, and
I move to approve the resolution for the Iowa DOT.
I would second that.
We have a motion and a second to
engineer.
approve the DOT engineer resolution. Is there any further discussion? If not, okay, it is a resolution. Shirley,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
I also, that motion also passes unanimously.
signature line for all five of you on that, so I guess I'll pass that around.
As we're passing that around, the next thing we have is go over the tractor quotes and then other road matters.
Nick, did you want to do the track quotes or do you want Jeff to go through? I think he passed them out here.
Yeah, Jeff can probably talk to it a little bit more than I. I've got the quotes in front of me here as well. Yeah, I'll let him take the lead on that for now.
These are basically the exact models that we bought the last two. IH was the MX 125 and then the 6120. John Deere, the only other option that I did throw on there was the front wheel assist, which
Yes,
that is a little more money.
yeah.
But you guys had requested that, so I threw that on there. The tractor wise, International has them on hand. John Deere has to be ordered. But either way, we would probably have them next year or in this fiscal year. Yeah. They said that wouldn't be a problem. We said actually equipment is a little better. Well, on the tractor side, I guess, to get, it's not out as far as a year or better. They said the availability, they would get it in the winter months, and then the tractor goes out to South Dakota for the deck, to put on.
And I would recommend that if you're considering this, that if you're going to, because you have 113,000 in them. That was how much you budgeted for roadside equipment. And you've spent a little of that to send, Todd to the training. But maybe a good way to break this down is to say that you'll buy the tractor out of the roadside equipment budget, and then diamond mowers equipment you'd have to pay out of the road fund. Right, because there isn't enough in there to cover the whole cost. And that might be a good way to break it down.
And what, I guess, the two of you, which would be your preference on a two-wheel or a four-wheel?
With our slow ditch, I think we ought to have the flexibility with the front assist.
For less than $12,000 more.
I think so.
I kind of like that extra option.
Yeah.
What does that mean for long-term with it in the shop from getting damaged from going places we shouldn't go?
Well, that's the only downfall with the front wheel assist. If you want to go down to the ditches and start mowing, that's usually not a good thing. We've been trying to get away from that because the repairs are quite costly. The more decks take a beating, the tractors take a beating if we get down in the ditches. If we're gonna keep them up on the shoulders, that's fine, but I just don't think it's very good on the equipment once we start getting down in ditches.
And you could instruct the mowers not to go down in the ditch, but then the question is, should you be spending the extra money on front?
Right.
Right, and that's kind of why we have been buying the two-wheel drives for what we need. We've been getting by just fine. That's the only downfall with the front wheel. Then guys want to go down the ditch, and then we start mowing bigger trees that shouldn't be mowed, and then it comes to the shop, and the mechanics aren't real happy with the repairs that have to be done to it.
So this,
So-
your preference would be the John Deere
I mean,
Right.
that would be my preference, but
based on experience and reality.
it's $12,000 cheaper, but it's, I guess, totally up to.
Have we ever looked at the different equipment for the mower part of it?
No, we always been buying pretty much Diamond. We've had pretty good luck with them. And we buy basically all of our mowers are the Diamond. And it's kind of like our standards are all the same. We have pretty good luck. We kind of hate to move away from it. It seems like for repairs, mechanics are happy with the way Diamond is built and parts availability.
And that's a single mower,
Yes.
not a bad way.
No, not a bad one. No, just a side.
We used to have a battery mower, right?
Well, they used to,
They
years
call it a
ago,
Wangler, right?
Now, that's the boom mower. Yeah. Years ago, they used to have actually a rear mower and a side mower. But we got away from that because really on the rear mower, you're not cutting that much grass. And it was more maintenance because then you have two mowers. And when we did run down the hydraulic system on the tractor, it seemed like we had a hard time because it got so hot. It just didn't work very good. So we pulled off the rear and just used the sides, and we've been having, I guess, better luck with that than having both.
I trust mechanics and what your life experience is.
And I mean, the mechanics, I think, they're fine with the John Deere, and price wise, they're cheaper and like I said,
Less expensive.
yes, right. That too.
I'll chime in, I guess, for a little bit from Howard County's experience on this is, we do not mow down in the ditches either. I would never allow my guys to get down there. There's too many things that go wrong with, running into fence posts and just damaging the equipment. The DOT has much flatter right away. You can do that a lot easier out there in the DOT right away than you can in the county right away. So over here, we do not do that. I did tell Jeff, we do have the front wheel assist on ours, but that's because we have loader buckets on our tractors for winter time. That's how we load our salt and sand, whereas Winneshiek County has a loader in every shop. So you won't have to worry about that type of thing. So I would agree. I don't think we need to be down in the ditches. And with that, then I don't think you need to have the front wheel assist.
Some of the ditches, we're making 2 passes now, Jeff.
Yeah.
And can you get the ditches where we are doing 2 passes, if we use the batwing mower, can they be done in 1 pass?
No. That boom mower you're talking?
No, I'm talking a batwing, it's got double blade behind it.
Yeah, we've never had a batwing.
Does the batwing mower?
Yeah, they love them for their tenure. But you only need a right side
A right side.
wing,
Yeah.
left side wing.
You don't need the left side.
Because basically what they usually do is mow it once and then, but on some of the shoulders, we have some steeper shoulders where we only do 1 pass because we really can't get down.
A lot of those we're.
But a lot of them we do 2, where they'll do 1 and then either a half maybe or a full just to kind of knock the grass back.
Because where we have been mowing twice, been getting 2 passes, I'm seeing that we're not seeing the same issues of deer and safety issues where we're getting more of that cut back. So you're not, if there's a deer alongside the road, you got a chance to see it better.
Right.
Than if it's right up to the top and we're 3 feet out with our.
Yeah. And we haven't changed that. We've always done a 2-pass system. I mean, as far as mowing, we've always done a 2, and they're trying to do some on the gravels too. That's the.
That's where the bigger issue is on gravel.
Yeah.
And even the pave, but we've got safety concerns there, because when we had our, in Spillville at our insurance renewal, when we talked with our insurance carrier, the number of deer claims that has dramatically risen in the automobile insurance, to where they are having record numbers of claims because of the size of the deer herd and the rest of that, and it's become a bigger problem. She has daily multiple claims every day, and that's just one small segment, but it's a big deal for cost and insurance costs.
But if you wanted to add another mower, could you do that? Regardless of which of these tractors you bought?
Yeah.
If you decided to add a batwing mower, that could be added whether you buy the John Deere, the Case, or the 2-wheel drive or the 4-wheel drive.
The bad thing with a batwing is, and Nick kind of commented on that, as far as the slopes, the DOT, that's all they use, but their slopes are a lot easier to get around in. I mean, they basically do all theirs with the batwing. Where we really wouldn't utilize it, we could utilize it on a couple of roads, but to spend extra money on a batwing, I don't think you're really gonna get a lot of area that you're gonna use it on. Maybe you could use it on gravels, hard surface, there's very few that you'd be able to use it on.
And it would be the efficiency, putting a batwing on one mower
Right.
in one shop doesn't really help you then in the other areas. So then you're talking, you're really adding them to one mower in every shop.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that might be something you talk about yet in the future, but I don't think that necessarily precludes you,
Right.
choosing a tractor, right?
Yeah.
We want to do this today.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. Yes, because really there's nothing that's changed as far as from the last ones that we ordered. So we really don't have to wait on this. We're, other stuff, we like to bring it back to the mechanics. I know mechanics are fine with the John Deere. They have no issues with that at all.
The accounting part of it, that's not a problem.
No, if you stick with one of these, unless you do the Case IH 4-wheel drive where the tractor cost is actually more than what you have in that other budget. I think if you do any of those other three, you're fine from that perspective. Because you can buy the tractor out of the road maintenance general fund line or rural fund line and then buy the more equipment from the road fund.
I would say that, it'd be nice to have the 4-wheel, but it is a lot more maintenance cost typically for the 4-wheel, so it's not just the initial cost.
Well, we've got our interim engineer and our head foreman and the maintenance shop saying John Deere 2-wheel drive is the one they want. And I would trust our team on that.
A motion.
You want
I motion for the John Deere 2-wheel drive.
I-
For $127,598 total cost.
well, that's also,
Yeah.
so it's a two.
I'll note it that that's.
Okay, I would second that.
But, yeah.
All right. We have a motion and a second to purchase the 6120M 2-wheel drive and Diamond 60-inch side mower. Any further discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
I,
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Anything else for any of the other road matters, guys?
Dick, you want me to comment on a couple of projects?
Yeah, if you would, please.
Conover, we're just about to the end. We're probably half a mile. We're on that last corner from there to 52 left. So that's, and on the dirt side, hauling it, we're on the straight stretch now on W14 going to Ridgeway. So right now, we're right on the corner of, it's basically 220th. We're kind of right in that corner. So we got from there Ridgeway. So it's about 2 miles. Yeah, roughly 2. And some spots do have a shoulder on there and some do not. So I'm hoping that we can get enough material to get to Ridgeway. Our next road that Mike Shimmick and I had looked at last week was 245th Avenue, north of north of Town Line Road. We had kind of marked that out. And we'll do probably the same as what we did on Conover. It'll be 30-foot top. We're really not changing as far as the width of the road there as to where we have it staked out. It's just the material from shoulder down to the bottom of the ditches that we would be retrieving. So it's really not going to change as far as.
I just had a guy call, wanted to know, because back in 08, it flooded pretty heavy along there. If we'd be, taking any structural away from the road by taking that dirt out or not, that was his concern, because he said, no, wait, that water went
Right.
backed up there pretty heavy. So that was, he called me this morning on that.
Yeah, and we had a farm stop us on Friday also, and he just said he didn't want it narrow, and I said, well, we're really not narrowing it because the road top will be the same. Basically, what it is, it's just there's a lot of excess material there, so. And it's, you keep going for a good cause, and like I would kind of like to see it done too, which is easier to maintain, and it'll help out.
That was 245th.
45th, yeah, we're north of town line.
Will that take us up as far as 9 on that?
No, from there, we'll probably go to just a dry run, the way it looks. There might be a little bit after dry run, kind of going up that hill, and it gets that little lake, and there's just probably maybe 500 to 1,000 feet, if that, going up that hill. Then it narrows up pretty decent after that.
There, yeah.
Yep. Just over Hogan's there. Yeah. So I'm hoping we can get to Ridgeway with this material. It'll be pretty close. So, but it, major improvement. So, yeah, other than that, I don't really have anything else.
On the Bluffton Road,
Yeah.
coming down that one hill, did we put that dirt in there?
Yep. Yep. We had all that. Conservation did that riprap work down there. Trying to think of what park it is down there. And the contractor had a bunch of material, so they piled it up. So actually all that material there is for us. So we'll take out of there, and try and fix Bluffton Road in some of them spots too. So we'll use up that dirt first. See how far that gets us and time wise and everything too. So, and it will be September right here Friday, so we'll try and get what we can done, and now we'll have to probably do some more of that next year, because I don't know if we'll get it all done this fall or not. It's time just goes too fast to get everything done. So,
The non-existent shoulder on the Bluffton Road?
yeah.
Some of those areas just keep dumping and not having.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never would see it up by the road.
Right.
Anyone else have anything for Jeff or Nick?
No, that's what I.
All right, well, thank you, guys.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jeff.
Guys.
So you guys know that we'll probably, I mean, traditionally, we've had the engineers on first, because we're going to be putting them on last on the agenda, so that Nick, he's gonna go first to Howard County, so that you can get done there. Because their board meeting is Monday morning also. So the plan is at this point, and I've talked with Andy to make sure it's okay to move him earlier in the agenda, is to have Nick last. So that either if he's coming in person or online, he's done with the Howard County board.
Makes sense.
Or needs to be. We aren't like fighting over who gets to have him each week.
Makes a lot of sense.
Does anyone have anything else for discussion?
I had, we're looking into like permits and stuff people get for, we got the utilities come and get permits, and we were just talking to the engineer's office there that maybe we should charge for some of the utilities
$100
to
or
do,
something.
there's 5 counties you found that charge, it's like $100.
Mhm.
Cause on that one utility, I think there's 30 permits they come in to get, and we gotta do that, we gotta go out and look, you know, it takes time,
Mhm.
somebody gotta go out and look at whatever.
I would support that too.
Some of them charge anywhere from $100 for a 10-mile limit. If it's over 10 miles, it's another $100, and another one is $100 per location mile. So I don't know if that's every location, because you look at these, here's some maps that last permit was, had, there's like a lot of locations.
It does require work on
Yeah,
the part of county officials.
3 pages, locations they do, yeah,
That all broadband.
yeah, yep.
Why don't we put this on the agenda for Monday? I think it's
Yeah,
worth
I
the
just
discussion.
thought we'd bring it to their attention that maybe the utilities, if they're, I don't know, other counties, you check with other counties that don't. Well, if we start doing, they would start to. Cause it takes a little more paperwork for the utilities companies,
Well, if one
rather than
company
just a
will
single,
lose 30
single application,
permits.
road deal is nothing, but Yeah, the one at 30 permits. Yeah, so it takes it takes a lot of time.
I think it's very justifiable that
Yeah.
we would ask for a dollar amount.
Does any county have a permit fee plus so much per location?
Well, that's one here does, yeah.
That's some of the homework we can
It's
do before
$100
we
per
make any
location. per
decision on it.
Per location, per
Per
month?
mile, yeah. So there,
want to talk to Nick about the permits on the.
Oh, yeah.
He's no, he said he could get back
I
on.
think
We'll put it on the agenda. Put it on the
we'll
agenda.
put it on the agenda, yeah.
Yeah,
Perfect.
So. And like Beth, and she talked to 4 or 5 counties that don't, well. If we do, they will.
I think Howard County is one of the ones that does.
No, not really.
They don't? Hmm,
Just Cedar, Johnson, Lynn.
maybe I'm thinking
Oskaloosa,
of the
Ottawa,
weight limit
unless
permits.
It was not on here, she checked. with
I might be thinking the weight limit permits for trucking.
All right, well, we'll put that on the agenda for next week.
Yeah, so
I think that's a good idea. Anything else? If there isn't, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for adjournment. All those in favor, say aye. Those opposed. Motion carries unanimous.